Good morning to all of you out there. Welcome to the program Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and welcome to viewers of One News PH. Thank you to subscribers of Cignal TV, and please join us today on this Thursday, January 13, 2022. Okay, today we are going to have some interesting guests as usual. And for those of you who have always wondered about bulletproof cars, bulletproof vans, armors and armor piercing, etc. Dahil panahon na po ng eleksyon, makinig po kayo, marami kayong matututunan sa isang bisita natin. But before that, we will also have two gentlemen who will talk about what the life of fire volunteers is like, what they are faced with, how they organize, etc., etc. Because yesterday, yung Starmall po, dyan sa may Muntinlupa, nasunog. An estimated 100 million pesos worth of goods and property went up in smoke. So we are going to tackle that subject matter about volunteer firefighters, lalo na po yung medyo lumaking issue na cover pa nga ng TV5, yung bagang mga bantay sa lakay. Meron daw kasi. And yun ang allegations on social media. Nagmamakaawa nga yung mga napag-initan. Meron kasi raw mga barangay fire units. Ika nga, paano pa? Firemen ba tawag? Hindi naman sila volunteer. Anyway, that's the problem. There are barangay firefighters who are not exactly volunteers because they're paid, and they're not exactly Bureau of Fire personnel. And now the one group is being accused of bantay sa lakay for picking up, helping themselves to several boxes of goods, nilagay raw doon sa truck. Yan ang magiging issue. So we will tackle all of that, but that will not be the main focus. The main focus is the life of volunteer firefighters. What does it require? What does it take, etc. But in the meantime, let's go to our daily starter for today. From Isaiah 41:10, fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Hindi lang po Omicron ang pagsubok na hinaharap natin. We are facing various challenges, lalo na kayong mga unvaccinated na hindi pwedeng makalabas ng bahay, hindi na makakasakay ng public transportation. Ay nako po, magdasal na kayo. Humingi na kayo ng tulong sa Panginoon, and do not be afraid, because more than anything, ladies and gentlemen, our enemy is fear. It's not the person who opposes you. It's not the medical condition you are facing. I mean, like yours truly, Cito Beltran, is on his 6th day of quarantine, of isolation with my beloved wife, Karen, because we are both COVID positive. Pero mapapansin naman ninyo, nagpapatawa pa ako dahil sinasabi ko nga, hindi naman ako tinamaan ng Zoomicron. Ang tumama, mukhang Omicron. But fear not, okay? So that's our encouragement for the day. And now let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star. Thank you, by the way, to PLDT for your home fiber optic internet that keeps us on the air. The front page headline of the Philippine Star, Department of Transport, no vax, no ride in NCR. Simula po sa Lunes, sa susunod na linggo, next week, no vaccination card, no vaccination evidence, no ride in public transportation. That is the pronouncement, the memorandum directive issued by DOTR Secretary Art Tugade Siguro nayayamot na rin si Sec Art kasi pati siya yata in isolation or quarantine right now. Yung birthday niya, kasama niya, mga alalay na hindi pamilya niya. Anyway, DOTR, no vax, no ride in NCR. In the meantime, at the top of the headline, at the top of the front page, the header, jobs eyed for ages 4 and under by April. The national government, the IATF and the vaccination SAR is planning to roll out vaccination for Filipinos or for children below 4 years of age by April. Sa ngayon po, ang tinatarget nila ay mabakunahan na lahat ng mga 12 below or and above, whatever the age gap is, but age bracket is, pero ang balak nila by July, lahat ng mga minor de edad, nabakunahan na, sana. And by the end of the year, lahat ng kailangan ma-booster na. So that's the good news. In the meantime, the bad news is Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere has stated that as far as the DOH is concerned, yung record high cases na sinasabi sa mga pahayagan at sa mga balita is lower than actual numbers, because many COVID positive patients are actually not included in the tally dahil po marami sa kanila nag-antigen test laang. So what happens is, aside from the antigen test conducted by the Department of Health, there are also a number of families and people who use antigen tests but never really report to the barangay, to the local hospital, etc. So, kung sinasabing today, based on the tally of the Philippine cases, yun po sa kanang bahagi, in the right side of the Philippine Star, you will see the reported cases yesterday were 32,246 new active cases. Excuse me. Yun po, hindi po yung kabuuan because maraming nag-antigen, hindi kasama doon. What cannot be denied is that yesterday, 144 Filipinos passed away due to COVID-related illness or cause of death. So, if you are thinking that, ay, Omicron lang ang tumama sa akin, ay, mild lang ito, walang problema. Ladies and gentlemen, may I remind all of you, thank our good Lord, our God, magpasalamat po kayo. Because kung Delta po ang tumama sa inyo, baka ICU kayo, severe case kayo, or dedo na kayo. So let us not take those things for granted. Let us be grateful, thankful, but also let us be cautious because baka matsambahan pa rin tayo. In the meantime, Lazada and Shopee representatives have vowed not to promote disinformation in their advertisements kasi napatawag po sila sa Senado. They were called to the Philippine Senate, or at least on Zoom, and they were told in no uncertain terms by Senator Pangilinan that, okay, I will quote, Senator Pangilinan tackled advertisements of Lazada, Shopee, and other private firms placed on YouTube channels that the lawmaker described as garbage for spewing disinformation. So ayan po, nag-commit yung Lazada and Shopee to be vigilant and to avoid this. However, sabi ng Shopee and Lazada, kuminsan po hindi namin maiwasan kasi yung Facebook po kung saan pinaglalalagay yung aming mga advertisement paminsan-minsan. Okay. And that photo that you will see there, photos of bus riders being checked and truck drivers being asked for their vaccination card. So nagra-run through na po, may dry run na ngayon sa mga pampublikong sasakyan at sa mga checkpoints asking for vaccination card. In the meantime, okay, ayan po yung another picture. Hindi po yan the village boys, yan yung mga the construction boys at Manila Science High School na binigyan ng COVID-19 vaccine booster shots. Okay, biruin nyo, sila pa ang pinuntahan ng Manila City Health personnel yesterday. And the Commission on Elections says there was no hacking of their system, wala raw pong nanakaw na mga data or sensitive information, and they are now trying to investigate, determine sino ang traidor na nagbigay ng impormasyon o fake news sa Manila Bulletin pa na nahack daw ang COMELEC. Okay, abangan po yan because maybe tomorrow we might be able to get a better view of that situation. Meantime, PDP laban plea to extend COC filing junked. Okay? Binasura. Tinapon. Hindi nga magawang kalakal. Binasura po the COMELEC unanimously and resoundingly rejected the petitions of PDP Laban and a private group for the extension of COC filing and also the postponement of the elections. Okay, last but not the least, ayan po, nagsama yung si Senator Bongo and President Duterte the other night tungkol po sa pagpapabakuna, magpabakuna raw po kayong lahat. Okay, that's the headlines and front page of the Philippine Star. It's already 8:12. Okay, bakit? Wala naman kayo pupuntahan. Hindi naman kayo siguro nagmamadali. Let's now go to our interview portion here on agenda and the selected topic. Timing na timing kasi nagkasunog na malaki kahapon. There was a big fire at the Starmall. Let's go to our guests for today. First, we have the national president of the Association of Philippine Volunteer Fire Brigades, none other than Mr. William Ong. Mr. Ong, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Okay, introduce ko lang muna yung Vice President natin. Vice President, Association of the Philippine Volunteer Fire Brigades, Aldrin Cuña. Aldrin, good morning.
Good morning, Sir Cito.
Okay ba? Talagang naka-uniforme pa. Okay. Anyway, good morning, gentlemen. Sir William, Sir Aldrin, welcome to the program agenda. Sir William, pakiayos lang ng konti yung pwesto mo at nawawala ka sa frame. Hindi na kita mahanap sa TV. Yan. Konti pa, konting-konti pa. You're disappearing again. Nope, the other way. The other way. Okay, konti pa. Makukuha mo yan. Magkaedad lang tayo. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's it. Perfect. Thank you, gentlemen. Sir William, there was a big fire yesterday sa Starmall. So medyo not timing yung pag-guess ninyo. Kasi sabi ko, the volunteer firefighters never get any publicity, never get public recognition. Nakikita lang kayo sa sabi, ang iingay naman itong mga to, nakikisalim pusa lang, etc. Pero please, how difficult is the life of volunteer firefighters and organizing it, sir?
Okay. First of all, being a firefighter is like pag-responde kami, yung isang paa namin nasa hukay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We have to go through a lot of training, especially sa mga volunteer. Sa mga volunteer fire, we require our people to have basic training, firefighting, and hindi basta-basta mag-set up ka din ng volunteer group eh. It's not that. We are talking about saving life and property. And ang isa pang ano namin is we ensure the safety of the people, our people.
Mhm.
Maybe Aldrin, you can add on, kasi depende sa kada kanyang brigada yan, how they set up their group, ano. Maybe Aldrin, you can add on some more.
Okay, okay. Let me go to Sir Aldrin first, and then Sir William. Our technical group, Team Agenda, will just sort out your communication kasi medyo lumalelay tayo. Sir Aldrin, pag-usapan nga natin itong pagtatayo ng mga volunteer fire brigades, no? First of all, where did this come about? Kasi may napapansin ko lang, and ayoko naman mag-stereotype, ano? Pero karamihan kasi ng mga nagbo-volunteer, puro mga Chinese community. And then kayo pa ang mga gumagastos para sa equipment ninyo. What is the history of volunteer firefighters in the country ba?
Let's put it in context. No, the volunteer fire brigades, especially among the Filipino Chinese community, started way back in the as early as the 60s and 70s. Hindi pa tayo pinapanganak noon, Sir Cito. Um,
Ikaw lang.
Binondo was always beset by fire incidents, and we all know that at that time the Bureau of Fire Protection had problems in terms of challenges, no, in terms of their fire suppression capability. That's
Yeah.
why the community in the Filipino Chinese community pulled together their resources to buy a fire truck, and then had all their children man those units. No? In case something happens in the community, it's supposed to be a self-help mechanism. No? So,
Mhm.
and that morphed already. No? Time went on, uh, and they saw that it was a nice, allegedly a nice uh, uh, community activity for youngsters, no, at that
Mhm.
time. But remember, during our time, when we were growing up, we were taught to be disciplined. No? We were trained the hard way, so we knew how to be responsible, especially when we help the community. And now, ang volunteer fire brigades, actually, if you look at it, we're already a dime a dozen. No? So,
Mhm.
10 na ngayon ang pagiging volunteer, no? But fire volunteer. But if you look at it, you do a deep dive into the volunteer fire service, there are very stringent requirements, no? Whether set by law or by tradition. No? So it's not easy to be a fire volunteer. I agree with what our president has said, no? President William Ong said. Being a fire volunteer, yung kalahati, yung isang paa mo is already in the grave. No, we actually in our association, we already lost fire volunteers in the line of duty, no? Nasabugan ng LPG, bumagsak sa ulo niya, bumagsak yung pader sa magkapatid na doing fire suppression, and they died in the line of duty, and a lot of accidents have happened already. uh, and what do we get? Do we get paid? No. Do we get recognition? No. Do people say thank you to us? There are people who say thank you, give us water for free after fire suppression, and they say maraming salamat po. Ano sasabihin na, ang sinasagot namin, wag na po ninyong ulitin dahil ayaw na namin bumalik. No?
Mhm.
Uh, kasi may iba nagsasabi, sir, maraming salamat po sa uulitin. Wag na ninyong ulitin para hindi na kami makabalik. So it's really difficult, no? Even
Mhm.
the fire code of the Philippines under Republic Act 9514, it states that companies, especially big companies who employ more than 50 persons, have to set up company fire brigades. Um, Even barangays under letter D of section 6.0.2.1 of division number 2 of the implementing rules and regulations of the Fire Code of the Philippines states that require encourages all barangays to organize their own fire brigades. But let's put it in proper context. No?
Mhm.
A company fire brigade is a fire brigade that protects the safety of the property of the compound. The barangay fire brigades under the fire code, you are supposed to, well, based on my basic understanding, assuming that I know what I'm reading, they're supposed to be confined within
Barangay.
the barangay, within their
Yes.
area of responsibility. And then for us, fire volunteer organizations under um, the implementing rules also states that fire volunteer organizations is an organized group of private firefighters recognized, and I may stress, recognized by the Bureau of Fire Protection, who have voluntarily formed themselves to perform fire-related activities. No? We are required also by law to undergo regular certification activities with the Bureau of Fire Protection. No? So our association is very heavy on complying. We're very strict on complying with the requirements of the Bureau of Fire Protection to make sure that we are competent, we are up to date with training. We participate in a lot of trainings actually. I saw that several pictures were being shown. In
Mm.
our association, we were trained in terms of the incident command system. We're trained in basic life support, advanced cardiac life support. Uh, we're even trained with mass casualty incidents. Um, it's a rigorous and strenuous activity that we have to undertake every so often just to meet the barest minimum standards set by the Bureau of Fire Protection. And you'll see, sir, that we're not only firefighters, we're not fire suppressors, we're also part of we're very active in a lot of social civic activities. When Taal uh, erupted, we were there. We brought relief goods. Even Marawi, after Marawi, we sent relief goods to Marawi. We even went all the way to Marawi, to Ground Zero, to bring our relief goods and turn it over to the government of the Islamic city of Marawi. And there you see, that's our convoy of relief goods traveling to Batangas.
Yan nasa Startol.
Yeah, sa Startol.
Oh,
That's at the height of the
kayo yung
volcano eruption.
nasundan ko noon. Nasundan ko kayo noon. Talagang
Thank you, Sir Cito.
kahaba-haba. Okay, now,
Yeah.
let me go to Sir William. Sir William, as president of the National Association of Volunteer Fire Brigades, what exactly is your scope of responsibility? Ano yung mga ginagawa mo? Kasi baka may magsabi dyan, puwede pa bang mag-volunteer, mag-fire volunteer yung ano ko, yung sorry sir, yung lolo ko, o yung tito sito ko. Eh, kasi tayo medyo upper 60 na tayong dalawa. Eh, what's your role or what do you do as president?
First, being the president, uh, overseeing the activities na, kasi there are two sections in our organization. One is more of the policy making, mga decision making, and of course, yung mga financial needs ng mga firefighters. There is another operation group wherein uh, sila naman yung nag-i-in charge ng operation.
Mm.
Any need ng operation, tinataas sa directors for decision making. Let's say, they need yung mga radio equipment. We need to improve our radio equipment. Pataas sila humihingi ng tulong na.
Mm.
So this is where my role is. I call the meeting among the directors and telling them we have this problem, we need financial support. So it's being approved by the board, then we go ahead with the expenditure. Ano? So aside from that, mga policy making.
Okay, Sir William, Sir William, pag magtatayo, kasi nabanggit kanina ni Aldrin, ano, na even companies with a big area and big number of employees are required to put up their own fire brigade. Magkano inaabot yung magtayo ka ng sarili mong fire brigade for your company or even for the barangay? Kasi dito sa Barrio Kapitolyo, ang liit-liit ng aming fire station. Pero bagay, maliit na village din kami at saka isang fire truck, no? But they get the job done. Now, how much money are we talking about and how many people are required?
Easily 2 million.
2
Easily
million.
2 million. Like for example, yes. Like for example, a fire truck, a small pumper. Nowadays, it's costing us almost 1.5. And what more if you buy a bigger truck, ano?
Mhm.
Like in our company, I bought a tanker, easily 2.8.
Mhm. Are these
Wala pa yung gamit.
okay, are these all tax free?
These trucks are actually no.
Ay, nako, I saw Aldrin shaking his head. Gagamitin mo na for
Yes.
fire prevention, for saving lives. Pagkatapos, pag bumili ka ng equipment, magbabayad ka pa ng taxes. Anak ng ewan talaga itong sistema natin, ano?
Siguro ang ano lang namin is sa deductible sa insurance. Mas bababa ang insurance policy because you have your
Mhm.
own firefighting team. Yun lang.
Okay. Now, Aldrin, thank you, Sir William. No, let me go to Aldrin. Aldrin, yung manning buhay ng volunteer fire fighters. Kasi akala ko naman ay basta nag-volunteer at medyo pumasa sa physical exam, pwede ka na magbabasa. Kaya mo bang kumalabit ng bomba? Pwede na. You were saying, hindi pala ganun kadali.
It ain't that easy. The easiest day was yesterday, Cito.
What do you mean? What do you mean? It was yesterday.
The easiest day was yesterday. It was easy yesterday if nothing happened, right? If
Okay.
a fire incident happens, you get a fire call, your adrenaline shoots up, okay? And you are, sabi ko nga, dito sa brigada ko, in my own brigade, here at Central District, here in Quezon City, um, I've always told my crew, we do not need to run a race to reach the fire scene because we don't get a medal or a trophy being the first arrival. So hindi
Mhm.
kailangan magmadali. We have to drive safely. And defensive driving is a requirement. And you have to train, no? We have to train. We regularly, as much as we can, conduct trainings, physical training. Here in my fire station, in our fire station here, in my brigade, which is a member, an affiliate of the Association of Philippine Volunteer Fire Brigades, we have two friends here, two logs whom we affectionately call Pain and Agony, and the crew regularly trains with these two logs, no, Pain and Agony. So
Mhm.
physical training is really a requirement. A lot of scenarios have to be played out so that when you get to the fire scene, anything happens in a snap of a finger, you know what to do.
Okay.
No?
You said the most you get is a glass of water and a thank you. But what happens? What happened to those volunteers who died and left behind families? I mean,
Well, we think. Well, let's not kill them first.
ah,
Let's give them a little injury muna. Yeah,
okay, okay.
let's get them injured. Let's give them a little burns, bruises, and
Oh.
cuts, and we had to bring them to the emergency room. In our association, the Association of Philippine Volunteer Fire Brigades, we have a standing memorandum of agreement. We do hospitals, private hospitals.
Mm.
I don't know if I can mention
Go
them,
ahead.
but
Go
I
ahead.
don't think.
Mention
Oh
it.
well, we have okay. We have a memorandum of agreement with Manila Doctors Hospital in UN, Corner
Mhm.
Taft. and then another MOA with the Chinese General Hospital. That
Mhm.
anything that happens to our firefighters or our crew and our members in the association, that is duty related, fire scene related, we can send them there for treatment. We get preferential attention. No?
Mhm.
That's the well benefit that we get out of the corporate social responsibility of these two hospitals. Now, if they die, unfortunately, if that happens, and so far none has happened for so many years already, and we do not want that happening. If that happens, then we charge it to experience.
Ganun na lang, anak
Yes.
ng ewan. You have to invest 2.8, 2.5 million to buy fire trucks. You have to take in a lot of training. You have to date pain. And ano ka mo, sino yung isa? Pain and
Si Agony.
si Agony ang lagi mong
Kami lang
kadate.
meron nun.
Oo, pagkatapos, pagdating pa dun sa nasusunugan, baka meron pang magtutok sa'yo ng baril.
Oh
Yung
yeah.
bubong ko, ang sunog, ang ano.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
So,
meron pa pinaliliparan kami ng pako.
aray ko.
Okay?
Okay.
You get
Well,
hit, you get shouted at, you get cursed, you get cussed, you get all the flack. And
okay.
people who are affected by fire incidents, we understand that they are blind, meaning they are not able to distinguish who is a volunteer and who is the regular Bureau of Fire Protection. That's
Mhm.
why in our association, it's a requirement for our firefighters to be in uniform and to have a marking at the back of their turnout gear, fire volunteer, so that we are
Okay.
able to distinguish who is BFP and who is fire volunteer. And we have
Well,
members who refuse to wear uniforms, and I hate these people who refuse to wear uniforms when going
okay.
to the fire scene. Yeah,
Baka
it pisses
sakali
me
isang
off.
araw, pag nakatikim na ng pana ng Sputnik, baka sakali mag-uniforme na yan.
Sana, oo, sana
Okay.
tamaan siya para magising.
Okay. Well, guys, Sir William,
If I
Aldrin,
may add,
yes.
if I may add lang, this is based on my experience. In one of the fire in Santa Cruz, nasubukan ko matutukan ng baril. It happens to be a policeman pa. Kasi malapit na yung sunog sa kanila. And while we're trying to put out the fire dun sa tapat nila, tinutukan kami ng baril, sabi ng unahin mo. Sabi ko sa kanila, walang mangyayari sa atin kung ganito ang gagawin mong tutukan. Let us do our job. Ikaw bahala ka dun sa mga tao. Ayusin natin para maano namin. So, nakinig naman, umalis. Pero, yun sinasabi ko, isang paa, nasa hukay na, which is true. Tinutukan ako ng 45. Sabi na, bahay namin muna unahin mo. And then there are some incidents na sunog sa Saragossa. It takes into ilang bloke na sunog. Wherein one of the volunteer firefighters experienced the same. Kutsilyo ang inabot. So ang ginawa ng volunteer, side dito, side doon, kabilaan. Pero nagalit sinaksak siya. So, yung sinasabi kong, every time na nagre-responde kami, isang paa namin nasa hukay na.
Okay. Well, we hope that things will improve by way of public information. Kanya po, we guested you. Unfortunately, we don't have long enough time. We will feature you guys once again. And I hope it won't be after a fire. Pero thank you for your time, gentlemen. And
Thank you.
you can expect further airtime in the future here on Agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Cito.
Okay, that's Mr. William Ong, National President of the Association of Philippine Volunteer Fire Brigades, Aldrin Cuña, Vice President, Association of Philippine Volunteer Fire Brigades, and Baka magtaka kayo, Sito, ano bang dahilan ba't feature nyo? Kahapon po, nagkaroon ng sunog sa Starmall, and recently it's been an issue where yung isang barangay fire truck unit na hindi naman kasama ng mga volunteers ay napagbintangan na nagluluting. So it's an issue, and then of course papasok na po tayo. Malapit na yung Marso na kung kailan Fire Prevention Month, dumadami na yung sunog. Huwag na po nating hintayin. Let's go for a quick break. When we return, let's talk about another topic coming into the election campaign period. We will be talking about armored vehicles, hindi po yung armored truck, no, na ginagamit sa bangko. Ito po yung mga armored vehicles na sinasakyan ng mga political candidates. Okay, we will be right back here on Agenda. Okay, welcome back to the program Agenda. Thank you for being subscribers of Cignal TV and viewers of One News PH. And you can still watch us via facebook.com/One News PH and on YouTube as well. Thank you to PLDT for their continued support of the program. Marco Borlongan, Happy New Year, Senor. Okay, let's go to our next guest. We are featuring the company Luxury Cars Manila. Now, before you go, bakit luxury cars ka na naman, Beltran? Hindi po, no? Kasi mag-election, umpisa na ang kampanya, campaign period or has started officially. The election period has officially started. And in fact, this morning, there was a report of a journalist down south, somewhere in Mindanao, who was shot again, patay. And this is the kind of stories and incidents that will certainly be repeated during the campaign period. So may mga nagtatanong na tungkol sa mga armored cars, hindi po armored trucks. At saka syempre naman, and rather than talk about it, let's interview the CEO of Luxury Cars Manila, Mr. Hans Tan. Hans, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Sir Cito. Cito, good morning.
Okay, Hans, first of all, could you give our viewers a brief idea of what Luxury Cars Manila is all about? Kasi baka nakikita nila yung mga model cars sa likod mo, sabihin, baka nagbebenta tayo ng mga model cars, amigo.
Well, Luxury Cars Manila started in 2013, my father has been in the car business for 40 years. So when I took over sales in 2013, 2014, I decided to bring it online. So we started a Facebook page, we started going social media. But way back in 96, we've been engaged in the armoring business now. We would, import vehicles from different countries na kailangan dito sa Pilipinas ng mga VIPs para to protect themselves and their family. So, long story short, 5 years ago, we decided to partner up with different people and we started our own armoring company because all of my dad's clients and the clients we've had over the years, nagkakaproblema pag i-repair na yung sasakyan. Plus, we were having issues with quality din. As you know,
Mhm.
overseas, Boss Cito, ang armored cars overseas is a utility vehicle.
Mhm.
It's a service vehicle lang. Dito po sa atin, luxury vehicle yan. So, kasi mahal.
Mhm.
So, ang expectation ng clients natin dito is a little bit high. So, we wanted to bring a certain level of quality and sophistication, and at the same time to have that service factor for the
Mhm.
client.
Okay, there are people who sent in questions, and we the people would like answers to these questions.
Sure,
So if you don't mind, Hans, first
sure.
question is, who are qualified to have armored cars? Who is your target market?
Actually, as much as a lot of us would think na puro politicians sa mga gumagamit niyan, there are a lot of business people. I would say about 85% of my clientele are high net worth individuals, business people, um, especially the ones who are in areas that are a little bit questionable.
Mhm. Can you elaborate on areas that are questionable? Kasi sa akin,
Yeah.
definition of questionable area, pag nakita ka ng asawa mo sa nightclub, yari ka.
Well, that too, that could qualify as a questionable situation more than
Okay.
an area. Diba? But questionable areas, I'm talking about areas wherein, pwede kang maging target. Um,
Uh-huh.
you know, um, Areas that are secluded.
Mhm.
For example, you visit your factory, and in the process of going to your factory, meron kang dadaanan ng mga secluded areas. Those are
Mm.
high security risk areas.
Yeah, I remember now when I was the unofficial pastor of President Estrada, and I would travel from Quezon City to Tanay. We would pass an area after the ano ba yun, after the Marikina Sumulong area na puro zigzag roads na,
Mm,
and may nagsabi sa akin, Sito, hindi ka ba natatakot dyan sa dinadaanan mo? Sabi ko, bakit? Ang ganda-ganda nga ng scenic route nga yun.
exactly.
Para kang nagbabagyo. Sabi sa akin ng kaibigan ko, tanga. Ang daming NPA dyan. Di mo ba napapansin yung mga sundalo miyat-miya? Nakikita mo while drive? O nga pala, no? Yung pala, yun yung mga questionable or security risk areas.
Yes.
Okay,
Um,
now who are your target market? So you said hindi lang politicians, businessman, high risk, net worth businessmen, sino pa? Mga government officials ba natin merong mga kumbaga no choice of their own, they have to ride armored vehicles?
there are certain situations wherein dito sa Manila po hindi naman ganun ka toxic yung environment, ano, although
Mhm.
alam niyo naman dito po sa atin, when you get to a situation wherein you need it talaga.
Mhm.
I always tell clients nga, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it without having it.
Okay.
So, and sometimes you learn na kailangan mo pala pag nangyari na yung situation, and it becomes too late.
Okay, is
You
it
know?
legal? Ito, magandang tanong to eh. Is it legal for a civilian to own an armored vehicle? Because parang, kung ako pulis at biglang makakasagupa ako ay kriminal na naka-armored vehicle, medyo dehado yung aking made in Japan o made in China.
Well, I think, common sense would dictate naman na, Bosito, no, na majority of criminals don't have that budget to purchase these vehicles. I
Mhm.
mean, the run of the mill criminal will not have the firepower to purchase these types of vehicles. So, unless na talagang super organized sila, and that's a totally different story, which
Mhm.
is a totally different conversation, di ba? But your regular run-of-the-mill criminals, the ones that create havoc and all these
Yeah.
things, bank robberies and all that stuff. They don't have the fight. Kaya nga sila gumagawa ng krimen is to create money. So they
Mhm.
don't have that type of
So
resources.
it's not illegal for an ordinary civilian. Well, ordinary civilian pero with lots of money, it's not illegal for them to own or to buy one from you.
Honestly, there's no law.
Okay, okay.
I mean,
Ah,
as
I'm
far
not
as I know,
espousing, I'm not espousing it, okay?
no, no,
Pero parang
no,
kasi
I know,
may
I know.
magandang tanong eh, legal ba 'yan?
It's actually we've had those questions in on our page, on the Luxury Cars Manila page, and also on our YouTube channel. We
Mm.
always get that question all the time. Kahit sino ba pwede? And
Mhm.
my answer has always been there hasn't been any question. Wala pa tayong regulation.
Okay. Now, as far as and please, no, I don't mind being called stupid or ignorant if I really don't know the story. But from what I have heard and been told, armored vehicles are level 1, level 2, hanggang pinakamatindi yata na armoring is level 6. Yun ang sabi sa akin, no? Now, kamusta na ba ngayon? Kasi yung isang dati kong share ng Bible na rebelding kasama dun sa yeah, nagkudeta. Ngayon binebenta na niya yung curtains na na Kevlar. So sabi ko,
Yes,
baka aanhin ko yan. Wala naman akong kaaway. Okay, but level 1 to 6, can you explain that?
sure. Level 1 to 3, actually level 1 to 3 and semi 4 are what I would call handgun protection armored vehicles, no?
Mm.
Mobile armored um, transports. They can defeat up to 44, 357, 50 caliber handguns. Now, when you start going level 5, 6, there's B6 plus and there's 7. There's different types of certification kasi there's CEN, there's about 3 or 4 different certification companies. But dito sa atin, level 5 or 6, we're talking assault rifle protection. So you're talking about your run of the mill 5.56 full automatic bullets, pistol caliber carbines kasi high velocity siya,
Mm.
or even your 7.62s kaya, no? But kami medyo pinasimple namin ng konti. I always ask a client before we dive into pricing and all those things, we try to assess the threat level of the client.
Kumbaga,
So
kumbaga tinatanong mo, yung kaaway mo ba talagang at any cost papatayin ka? As in, magnanakaw ng kanyon from the Philippine
armory.
military para mapatay ka lang. Yun
Well,
ba threat assessment?
I've had the question before na, boss, patablan ba ng 50 caliber yan? Ang first question ko lagi, boss, nakakita na ba kayo ng assassin na may dala-dalang 50 caliber? Ang nakita ko lang talaga naka 50 caliber, boss Cito, si Rambo eh.
Okay, okay.
Seriously, di ba? Or si Arnold Schwarzenegger sa Terminator. Yun lang eh.
Uh-huh.
But majority of your run-of-the-mill assassination attempts, especially here in Manila, are handguns, riding
Okay.
tandem, you know. Kasi mahirap magdala ng mahaba habang nasa likod ka ng motor. Kitang-kita. Medyo
What
mahirap.
about Hans, what about snipers? Kasi alam mo 2-0 na sa history, recent history, 2-0 na. One was the mayor of I think Santo Tomas, Batangas ba 'yon? O hindi, Tanawan, sorry. And then the other one was a vice mayor down south. Sniper naman ang binanat, no? Yung bang mga armored cars na yan, vehicles, are they resistant to sniper type, yung mga, ewan ko anong caliber, pasensya ka na, wala akong alam sa baril eh.
Yes.
Yung mga sniper.
Usually, ang sniper rifles is a 7.62, which is a ganyang kahaba yung bala niyan.
Yeah.
And it will heavily depend on the tip Now we have armor-piercing tips. We have non-armor-piercing tips. We have, and all of them, just full disclosure, all of them are illegal to own, except the military, except law enforcement. No, if you understand the mindset of a sniper, and I'm not exactly an expert, but I'm an enthusiast. I've always followed these people and learned from them. We have a lot of friends in the industry. A sniper, one the job of a sniper is take you out in one shot. One shot. So the whole idea of being in an armored vehicle wherein a sniper is blind. Kasi hindi niya alam, especially pag makapal yung tinted yung glass mo, no?
Oo.
And all our armored vehicles have what we call colored ballistic polycarbonate. So mahirap makita inside. So a sniper will never attempt.
Hindi katulad
Mahirap.
yung nasa pelikula na nakaupo sa tore, ilalabas yung sniper rifle at tapos uupakan yung nasa kotse. So that doesn't apply. Anyway, moving forward kasi baka maubusan ako ng oras.
Sure.
How heavy are those vehicles? Because Hans, I've actually seen, driven, rode on this kind of vehicles. Kumbaga, alam mo, usyoso, boss, pwede bang makasakay? Mas mabilis pa yung takbo ko. Mas mabilis pa akong tumakbo kaysa sa mag-drive sila kasi yung mga salamin are about 3 inches thick. Yung isa sabi sa akin, pare, bulletproof yung sasakyan natin. Nakita ko, steel plating. Literally, yung plancha na makapal. Para, ewan ko ba, sabi ko, bulletproof nga, tatapunan ka na lang ng granada, hindi naman tayo gumagalaw eh. How heavy are these vehicles, Hans?
Yung pinakita natin kanina, I'm not sure if it showed on the photo. No, we have the Hilux, which we add about 640 to 700 kilos depending on the ballistic protection level. This one is a Fortuner. We have the Fortuners. We add about 750 kilos. Now you start going into the Super Grandias and the Land Cruisers. You're looking at about 900 kilos to almost a ton. Now, not every armored vehicle can be armored. I'm sorry, not every stock vehicle can be armored. Because number one, the biggest factor would be the chassis. Oh, that's not an armored vehicle, by the way. The Bronco.
Nagyayabang ka lang. Nagyayabang ka lang na may Bronco kang bago. Talaga, ito na tayo eh. Mapapagalitan ka ng kaibigan ko. Bakit ka naglalabas ng ibang brand? Sige.
Hindi. Disclaimer lang, Bossito. We work with local dealers, ha? I refer to local dealers.
Good. No, it's good to know. Kasi baka sabihin na may nagpe-favorite ako sa mga kung sino-sino. So, you work with local dealers, you get units from the Philippines, but not all of those units can be armored.
Yes, because hindi lahat kaya ng chassis. That's why we're very, and the other brands might get upset, but we're very biased towards Toyota because it's something that we've worked very closely with, and we've seen the durability talaga. So although we armor the Ford Ranger Raptors, which is a huge seller for us, and it's great, and we get from the local dealers as well. But marami kasi dito sa atin, Bossito, unfortunately, pag tumawag yung client, pwede ba natin i-armor to? Para lang makuha yung kliyente, ina-armor kahit ano. And eventually, ang nangyayari is, bumabagsak sa akin, pinapaayos. And
I've actually seen units that were even American makes, but hindi ko nasasabihin, pero parang maganda nga yung sasakyan, pero hindi kinaya dahil sobrang bigat at saka wala halos para kang naging 80-year-old driver dahil wala kang makita. But that was of course 20 years ago. What has developed? what has changed and what are you offering as an improvement from those past nightmares?
First and foremost, the technology from 20 years ago has evolved significantly. The type of steel that you use is high carbon. They're thinner, they're a lot easier to work with, and they're a lot more durable. The glass, which a lot of people akala glass yan, it's not. It's actually sheets of polycarbonate that are fused together. Now, we source all our materials from overseas. Unfortunately, hindi pa tayo capable dito sa bansa natin mag-produce. I'd
Mhm.
love to source it locally, but wala pa tayong technology, boss eh.
Mhm.
So, we source it from overseas and we only buy the best. Kaya yung cost namin medyo mas mataas ng konti. Once you sit in one of our cars, you cannot even tell that it's armored pagdating sa salamin
Okay,
because
but
that is
what about
something.
yeah, what about in terms of drivability, maneuverability, and in terms of speed? Kasi as I've been harping on, all the past models that I got to test started out as cars, ended up as turtles.
You will feel a little bit of weight on the vehicle. Now, that's why favorite ko talaga ina-armor yung mga V8s na malalaki or yung mga turbo diesel na high
Mhm.
torque.
Mhm.
Because as much as people think that horsepower matters a lot, of course it matters, but the torque of the engine matters a lot more because torque is a function of load. So,
Mhm.
the heavier the car, the more torque you need to move that weight, 'di ba? So,
Kaanin mo yung speed kung hindi ka nga makabuelo. Kailangan mo muna
yes.
ng buelo bago ka maka-arangkada.
And I always tell people, Bosito, no, na when you buy an armored vehicle, you cannot expect it to perform the same exact way as a stock vehicle. There are certain adjustments you have to make because unfortunately we cannot cheat physics. Eh. You know, when you
Yeah.
have a heavier vehicle and you're going 150 kilometers per hour, obviously it takes a little bit more time for it to stop compared to a stock vehicle. And you know,
You're so right. Baka mamaya bigla sasabihin ng driver, Sir, hindi ho gumana yung preno. Bobo, ang hindi gumana, utak mo.
and you know, boss, majority of the time, lagi tinatanong sa akin, kaya ba ng preno? Kaya ng preno. Kaya ng preno yan. And the biggest problem is not the brakes. Akala ng mga drivers na pudpud na yung brake pad nila. And I always challenge the drivers. I always tell them, dali mo yung kotse sa akin, papakita ko sa'yo. Pagtanggal namin ng brake pad, buo pa.
Mhm.
Actually, cool, konting-konti lang naputol. What happens is, pag mabigat ang sasakyan, like every race car driver knows, what you need to replace is the brake line. Is that
Mhm.
kasi pag mabigat yung kotse, tapak ka ng tapak ng preno, yung brake fluid mo labas-pasok sa brake line yan. What happens? The brake line expands and it's rubber. So
Mhm.
that's when you start getting what we call brake fade. And that's the
Mhm.
biggest nightmare of every
Okay.
race car driver, di ba?
Yeah. Anyway, I don't suppose people, unless someone is shooting at you, you probably don't want to race on an armored vehicle. But quick questions, two quick questions lang,
Sure.
Hans. If if someone gets or has a unit armored buys from you, etc., do they save enough money because they no longer need backup? Kasi I'm going towards yung cost of the units.
Yes.
Kunyari, Fortuner o kaya yung Grandia, I think yung bagong high-ace Grandia ngayon, 3 million o 3.3.
Yes.
Pag in-armor na yan, magkano na abutin yan?
You're looking at a Super Grandias, a fully armored Super Grandia would run about 7.5, 7.4. Fortuners, we sell a fully armored Fortuner, and we're talking about all level 6, about 5.850. And then you have the Hilux, which is the lowest end one. We have the Hilux Conquest, the 4x4. That's about 4,850.
Mhm.
Now, with the question of do you save money on having a backup, it will heavily depend on your threat level.
Mhm.
I mean,
Okay.
kung humarang sa'yo, boss, tatlong super grandia na puno na nakamahaba, eh, kailangan mo talaga ng backup.
Ako hindi. Ako marami. I have an army of angels watching over me.
That's all you need.
At saka ang pinaka-serious threat sa ating lahat yung katabi natin sa kama pag natutulog tayo na may kasalanan tayo. Okay, well Hans, I gotta let you go, amigo, and thank you. It's
Thank
been
you,
very
Boss Tito.
educational. So as far as the cost is concerned, a grande, super grandia will go up to about 7. It's by my
7.5.
my rough computations, kumbaga, you bought 2 in one. And then, pero, ganun din naman, kung may mga bodyguards, bibili ka pa rin naman ng backup vehicle, kukuha ka pa rin ng bodyguard, magpapakain ka pa rin at magpapasweldo. So, economically speaking, mas konti ang testigo kung saan ka nagpupunta. Okay, thank you.
On top of that, mas inconspicuous ka. Kasi isang sasakyan lang.
Yan,
Hindi ka
okay.
mapapagkamalan.
Sasabihin nila, si Sir Hans, ang bait, isa lang, walang mga bodyguard. Thank you very much, Hans San
You're
of
welcome, sir.
okay, that's Hans Tan, CEO Luxury Cars Manila. Thank you, Mr. Vince Soco, for helping us connect with Hans Tan, or else I would not have discovered that service there. I'm Cito Beltran thanking you and leaving you with our weekly blessing. Quickly, but those who wait for the Lord will renew their strength. They will mount up with wings like eagles. They will run and not be weary. They will walk and not faint. From Isaiah 40, verse 31. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day. God bless all of you.